everyone. Thank you for watching this video. I am here today with Jenny Clift, and I met Jenny. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. When was it, Jenny, that I first did a course with you online?
Must be about 3 years ago now, I think, 2017, something like that, or 18.
Well, I met Jenny when actually it was my husband who found a course online, which was 21 days of tapping. And it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. It really reignited my love and my passion of EFT. So now Jenny is an EFT tapping coach, as well as an accomplished musician. But I'm just going to let Jenny introduce herself, because I really want you to get to know Jenny in this short video, and we'll put a link up where you can find everything about Jenny. So I'm going to hand over to you, Jenny. Welcome. It's so nice to see you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, no, it's lovely to be here. Thanks, Krysia, and I'm really glad you asked me to come on and talk to you and talk to your Inspiral group. So it's really exciting. Yeah, no, I am, as you say, I'm a musician as well as an EFT coach. I play the violin, and I did the usual thing, well, not usual necessarily, but I did the thing of going into my career, but then getting kind of diverted in many different ways. I started off performing, but then was having trouble making a regular income, which although I'm talking as a musician now, but I know for coaches and that kind of, very often with the kind of professions, doing what you love and everything, this whole idea of making regular money, making enough money, is really challenging. Yeah. So I kind of diverted into what they call a satellite career, which was teaching violin, and that was fine for a while. And then I started getting really frustrated because it wasn't what I really felt that I wanted to be doing and what I was here to do. But I had created so many beliefs around what I could and couldn't do, how I could and couldn't make money, and I was really, really struggling. And so I found EFT online. At the time, and I'm sure this is something that people here are really, I was listening to a lot of Abraham Hicks. Yes. Yeah, and and my experience with Abraham Hicks, although I really, really loved the message and everything, but I found as I listened to it, I was getting more and more angry, because they were talking about, moving up the emotional scale. And I was sitting at the time, I was teaching violin. I had lots and lots of quite little children. Most of them never touched the violin from week to week, and I was so frustrated, and I wanted to move, and yet I felt I couldn't, and I was getting angrier and angrier, and all these messages of just feel good about yourself. For me, it didn't do it for me, and I was getting really mad. So then when I discovered EFT, and I realized, oh my God, I can talk and tap at the same time and say things like, even though I'm furious because this child didn't practice this week, I could actually do it, and not just ranting, but really doing something about it and allowing myself to feel better as I did it. So through YouTube, I discovered my EFT coach, and I worked with him for many years. And through the work I did a lot around performing, about visibility, about putting myself out there, being good enough, that was another real limiting belief, about I'm going to upset the rest of my family or my students, so all these kind of things. So I tapped on all of those, did a lot of work on myself, and really moved back into performing. So I formed, for example, a guitar and violin duo and made 2 CDs. I mean, I remember the first day that I said to my coach, he said to me, I think, why don't you make a CD, Jenny? And I went, you have to be kidding, because there's so many fantastic violinists out there. And I just thought, who, me? And then I did, and I made 2, and I really put it down to, I mean, before the session, it's like, forget it, not happening. After the session, you just say, okay, I'll do it. you know, and then, yeah, you may then tap on repercussions and everything, but, you know, and it's all, so for me, it was a real way of making things doable. And so, yeah, so in 2016, I wrote a book about all of this called The Music Inside. And so that's about my journey and about EFT. It's kind of a EFT 101. And it was, although it's called The Music Inside, that's really talking in a more general way. It's talking about everybody. It may not be the violin, it may not be, you know, playing an instrument or something, but everyone has music inside them. Everyone has something which kind of is longing to come out. He said to me at the time, you know, you should, you know, you won't make money with a book, which is my experience. So why don't you offer coaching? And I remember at the time I had one client, and he was a lovely guy. He was based in Israel, because I always coach online, and he was a yoga teacher. He was just a perfect client, really nice guy. And I did one session with him, and it was fine. We tapped, and you know, I think he was happy. And I came off the call and I thought, oh my God, I've got to get some training. So, you know, just I had an idea that a coach was kind of like a teacher. And I sort of thought, oh my God, I can't answer any questions, you know. And since then, you know, we're doing the training. So I did an energy psychology certification with Dawson Church, who's a really big in the world of EFT. Yeah. And he's very big on science, the science behind EFT, which is amazing, you know. So, and also I did a tapping into wealth certification with another really fabulous EFT person. So after that, it felt like, you know, I could start legitimately offering my services. So yeah. So then, since then I've used it for, you know, and I do use it pretty much every day. Sometimes I forget, but I do find, you know, that easing oneself through life, and especially, you know, when there's stress and tension, you know, this whole idea of the fight or flight response, bringing down fight or flight is so important. So there you have it.
So Jenny, for people who don't know anything about EFT, obviously EFT is emotional freedom techniques.
Yes.
Can you just take us through the tapping points?
Absolutely.
The basic round, and should we do some tapping today?
Yes, please. Always.
Okay. Basic tapping points.
Okay. All right. So I'll just give a quick explanation. So emotional freedom techniques, EFT, which is also known as tapping, because basically we use acupressure points. So they're the same kind of points that we use in acupuncture, or are used in acupuncture. But instead of sticking needles in ourselves or having someone stick needles in us, we tap with our fingers on certain points on the face and on the body. Okay. Sometimes people, well, quite often people go, oh, that's weird. But if you see it as a kind of another energy alternative technique, which is working with this same kind of system, which is used also in Tai Chi, Qigong, Reiki, all these kind of, you know, really ancient traditions, and opening oneself up to the idea that, but apart from just believing it, and because I say so, you know, it works, they have done a lot of studies now, and big studies about, and proper scientific studies about how it brings down cortisol levels. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and it brings it down by like 24%, which is huge. And so this kind of basically tapping on points, and at the same time, as I mentioned before, we are focusing in on what is bothering us, what is going on. It could be an event, a situation, a person, an emotion, a feeling, a memory, all these different kinds. And it's not, sometimes people who love positive thinking, and I have to say, I think of myself as a very positive person. Some people do have a kind of, oh my goodness, saying out loud, I'm furious with Bob, you know, I'm so angry with him, you know, help, you know, how can I say these kind of things? But the idea is to look at things with laser focused. And so not with the idea of staying in that emotion. So I'm not going to be in a rage forever, or I'm not going to get depressed because I'm staying in sadness forever. No, I'm going to go there, look at it, clean it up, and move on with my life. And that for me is the emotional freedom. It's not freedom from emotions, far from it. We still have them every day. Yeah. It's freeing ourselves to choose and move through. And also one thing, Krysia, which I just think is so important, is the idea of honoring our emotions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And acceptance and moving through and releasing any negative attachments. But often people say, but I don't want to forget what happened to me. And it's like, no, you won't forget. This won't be triggered by it. Negatively.
Absolutely.
So and that was something that I didn't think of, that people actually don't want to forget what happened to them, and they think, I want to still feel, and you do. You still have that feeling, but not attachment.
No, and I think for me, this is a really good point, Krysia. I think the whole idea of not forgetting is, we're told, is the whole idea of, if I forget, I'm gonna maybe do something stupid. It's a safety mechanism, I think, for us, sort of that, no, I'll know how to act. Or it can be also, for example, a bit sadness that you're tapping on. Maybe you've lost someone, and are attached, we remain attached because of the sadness. So there's that kind of feeling of, if I stop feeling sad, I'll forget about them, and I'll, so I totally hear you. It feels like that. But it's, as you say, you still have the memories, absolutely, but you can kind of get a different perspective around them, and you can still, and then there's room for more, feeling better about the whole thing, and also learning different things about yourself as well. So it's some interesting stuff. So
when my children were much younger, I introduced them to tapping. So they were Sophie's now 18, and so she was only 4 years old when I first started tapping, and I would sing.
Nice.
And so they got used to that, and temper tantrums, instead of full-blown temper tantrums, if I got in quickly, they just left them, and they would sing along, and I'd tap on their teddy bears. So it's great with
totally. No, and I you think about all the different places that EFTs use. This is, because of the way it's structured, that you're tapping and talking about what's going on for you. It can be used in pretty much any situation you want. So, for example, EasyJet, the air company, they have courses for fear of flying, and they incorporate EFT in there. So you tap on, even though I'm terrified we're going to crash or something, I love and accept myself anyway. So and for me, let's have a look at the points, and I'll talk through a little bit the points. So when we're doing, this is called the basic recipe of EFT, and Krysia, all this, of course, but it's just to explain for if anyone doesn't know about how it works. There are these 9 points that we basically go round and round. Some people start here. When I start, first side of the hand, and then I start here. But because you're going round and round them, you're going to be hitting the points that and having this calming reflex on, and calming the nervous system, allowing yourself to think. It's a lot also about allowing yourself to stop thinking with your amygdala, your ancient fight or flight brain, and allowing yourself to think clearly. So all of that is very good news for when we want to think, kind of change our beliefs around ourselves, our possibilities, and things like that. So we're going to start on the side of the hand. So between the little finger and the wrist, there's your point, and you tap with one hand. I usually use my dominant hand and tap on the other side, but you can switch it around. It's not like yoga that you have to balance up the two sides. It doesn't, and you kind of get used to that. As someone who's done yoga all my life, at the beginning it felt like I'm going to walk funny afterwards, but it doesn't work. Okay, so we start there, and this for me is the kind of slightly not ritualistic, but it sounds a bit, it's kind of this is what we call the setup phrase. So we say, even though, and we have our issue. So let's, at the moment we're in a really hard situation right now with the lockdown and with COVID-19 and everything. So maybe our issue today, and we can do a bit of tapping on this if you think, Krysia, is, even though, let me think, for example, even though it's so hard to be in lockdown. Okay, and what I would do when I'm working with a group or with an individual is take a rating from 1 to 10, and this is what we all do as practitioners. So say to yourself, for example, I'm really stressed out and being in lockdown. And you decide for yourself, okay, scale of 1 to 10. 1 is, nah, totally relaxed, no problem. 10 is freaking out, okay? So say you're at a 7 today in this moment, okay? And just one quick caveat, all right? I always say to people, especially in groups, because I can't see people, I don't know what's going on. If you know there's something really toxic going on for you, maybe you've got memories, events that have happened in your life, then I really, take full responsibility for your own well-being. If there's something really that you think, oh my God, this is going to overwhelm me, then maybe have someone with you, or find a practitioner, or find someone to tap with, because yeah, taking responsibility for, most people it's fine, keep tapping, you'll move through the emotions and come out the other side feeling freer. So we'll be starting there. Then the first point we'll be using is the eyebrow point. So just the inside of the eyebrow. Yeah, exactly. So either one of these, it's not the third eye, it's sort of the eyebrow, and that's where we'll start tapping. And I always say to people, and people ask me how many times should I tap, and basically what we'll be doing is having a sentence going, and while we're saying that sentence, and I will say it, and Krysia's very kindly going to be my echo voice, she'll be echoing it back, that's when we'll be tapping, okay? The next point is the side of the eye. And again, another question often is, how hard should I tap? And different people have different, my daughter's always saying, you're so rough, mummy. So I'm quite violent, but just think of it as stimulating the pressure points, the accurate pressure points. So whatever feels right for you, don't hurt yourself, but just feel those vibrations as if you were a drum or something. Okay, under the eye, so on the bone right below the pupil, we're going to be tapping there, and sometimes, as Krysia's showing us how to do it with both hands. All right, and then under the nose is the next point, right there. Under the mouth, so in the cleft of the chin, we tap there. The next one is remove my jewels. The next one is the collarbone point. So the inside of the collarbone, there's a little hollow right under the end of the collarbone. So we're going to be tapping there. And I usually use some people use a fist here. And then under the arm, all right, and just below the armpit, just like on the seam of your clothes, you may feel a kind of sensitive spot there. If you do, that's great. Tap there, don't hurt yourself, but tap. If it's not sensitive, fine as well. As it all goes. And then the last point that we're going to be using, and then we'll be going round and round, is the top of the head. So right, again, you may feel a sensitive spot here. And we just, sometimes, actually in the first videos I made, Krysia, I tap like this, and then I realized, uh-oh, wrong. So no, you're not meant to go around. You tap right there in the middle and tapping here. But because we've got several contact points, you're going to hit it, and it's not as if someone from on high said, no healing for you, you didn't get the right point. It'll happen. And the intention is about it. Yeah, totally. Okay, so those are our points, and we're going to go around. So as I say, we take a rating at the beginning, more than anything to keep track of how is it going. And then after a little bit of going around, in pure, if you like, pure EFT, we're really sticking with just 1 or 2 words. We can just go around going, all this stress in my body, this stress, this stress. I tend to be a little bit more free with my tapping. Words, when I work with groups or with individuals, they've said things to me. So they've maybe said, you know, I can't stand being cooped up. So we could actually, you know, we're using that. I can't stand being cooped up, this feeling of being cooped up. And we'll use the words that are coming up for people. All right. So
use your own words.
Yeah. Okay. So, Krysia, should we do a bit of tapping around being on lockdown then?
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So let's start by, yes. So, and everyone can do this. And what I suggest is, as we are tapping, Krysia and I really suggest that you join us, because it looks kind of weird from the outside looking in, and you won't. This is very experiential. You know, if you try it out for yourself, then. And there's the great thing about this, it doesn't have side effects. You know, I mean, it's not like me saying, oh, try out this new pill for yourself, sort of thing. So I absolutely encourage you to join us and tap. If there's anything that I say that you just think, no, that's not me, you have two options. Either just don't say it, or say your own words, or just tap. It's okay. You won't take on what isn't yours, because we're clearing at the same time. If I say, I'm absolutely furious with this whole situation, and you're just thinking, you know, I'm not happy with it, but I'm not furious, don't worry, it's not going to be suddenly you take on all Jenny's energy of fury. Okay, so just as a kind of, so people are comfortable with that. Okay, so let's just take a moment. Just if it feels good, just closing your eyes. And let's just take a breath in and let it go. Just allowing yourself to come in a little bit into your body, dropping down into your body, and just breathing comfortably with your eyes closed. And I want you to say, either out loud or just in your own head, I'm really stressed out about this lockdown.
I'm really stressed out about this lockdown.
Okay, and just again, trying to access any feelings that are coming up for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, first of all, how true does that feel? And maybe just make a note and just write it down. I don't know if you're at a 7 or if you're at a... And it varies moment to moment, of course, but right now, right here. And just feel what emotions are uppermost right now. Maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's fear, maybe it's frustration or sadness. So just allowing yourself to tune in. And also allowing yourself to become aware of where you hold that emotion or those emotions. And for different people, it's in different places in the body. And even if you're sort of struggling and you're thinking, I can't feel anything, if you did feel this emotion in your body, where might it be? So for example, fear, very often we hold fear in our stomach or in our throat. Sadness, very often in our heart. Okay, so just becoming aware of anything that's going on inside. And when you're ready, just take another deep breath in and just gently allowing yourself to open your eyes. And let's do some tapping. Okay, Krysia. So what kind of emotion came up for you, Krysia? What was uppermost for you?
For me, it was lack of control. Within my 4 walls, I feel I have control, but it's external. It's
okay.
Lockdown has just, it came on very quickly without any real warning, and it was, oh, bang, I'm in it. I have to admit, for me, the first week was the hardest, and coming to terms with how is this going to play out. and going through all those different emotions, really, of am I going to be able to be tolerant with those that I'm in lockdown with, but also speaking to some of my friends and actually feeling guilty that I have a garden, I have beautiful, beautiful walks that I go on every single day, and actually I'm in my house that I'm very grateful for, but I have a loving partner with me, supporting me, and so many of my friends, and I have a 92-year-old aunt who is on her own, and the guilt that I can't go round and look after her on a daily basis, and you know, with my friends, helping them through their loneliness. And yes, it is different online. You know, it's not quite the same as
and I think there's definitely that feeling of, you know, am I doing enough? Yes. Should I be doing more? You know, I the other day I blew up at my brother-in-law because he said, oh, you know, why aren't you doing some voluntary work? And I've just, oh my God, but I'm doing this, that, and the other, and but immediately went into the, oh goodness, I should ring the Red Cross right now and offer myself as a, you know, and I should be doing more. You know, I have so much and everything. So okay, so we've come up with a bit of, you know, yes. Okay, let's start. All right. I want to use your words, the lack of control. Okay, because this is probably something which for many people, that's what's so scary about this, you know, it feels, okay, so let's go with this. Even though I can't control this situation.
Even though I can't control this situation.
I love and accept myself completely.
I love and accept myself completely.
Even though I can't control this situation.
Even though I can't control this situation.
I love and honor myself completely.
I love and honor myself completely.
Even though I can't control this situation.
No, I can't control this situation.
And I have all these different emotions.
And I have all these different emotions.
I have a lot of anxiety about the situation.
I have a lot of anxiety about the situation.
And fear for specific people.
And fear for specific people.
Who are more vulnerable.
Who are more vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. But I'm also feeling a lot of frustration.
I'm also feeling a lot of frustration.
Mm-hmm. And that feeling of guilt.
And that feeling of guilt.
That maybe I'm not doing enough.
That maybe I'm not doing enough.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I should be putting myself out there much more.
Maybe I should be putting myself out there much more.
Virtually.
Virtually.
Yeah. And even though I just can't control the situation.
And even though I just can't control the situation.
I deeply and completely.
I deeply and completely.
Love, honor, and accept myself.
Love, honor, and accept myself.
Okay, let's go now. We'll go around the points. Okay. I can't control this situation.
I can't control this situation.
This is out of my control.
This is out of my control.
This is totally out of my control.
Totally out of my control.
I'm watching the statistics.
I'm watching the statistics.
I'm watching the numbers.
I'm watching the numbers.
And this is like a nightmare.
This is like a nightmare.
It's like being in a nightmare.
It's like being in a nightmare.
And I can't do anything about it.
I can't do anything about it.
At least in a nightmare, I can wake myself up.
At least in the nightmare, I can wake myself up.
But there's nothing I can do about this.
There's nothing I can do about this.
And it makes me feel so helpless.
It makes me feel helpless.
Mm-hmm. It makes me anxious.
It makes me anxious.
All this anxiety that I'm feeling.
All this anxiety that I'm feeling.
All this worry and concern.
All this worry and concern.
I'm worried about specific people.
I'm worried about specific people.
Mm-hmm. I'm worried about people who are more vulnerable.
I'm worried about people who are more vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. And I'm worried about the planet.
I'm worried about the planet.
I'm worried about what's going to happen to us all.
I'm worried about what's going to happen to us all.
Mm-hmm. All this worry and anxiety.
All this worry and anxiety.
All this fear that I'm feeling.
Or this fear that I'm feeling.
And I can feel it in my body.
And I can feel it in my body.
Mm-hmm. I can feel this fear.
I can feel this fear.
All this fear in my body.
All this fear in my body.
All this fear in my energy system.
All this fear in my energy system.
Mm-hmm. And I feel guilty too.
And I feel guilty too.
Because really I have so much to be grateful for.
Because really I have so much to be grateful for.
My situation could be so much worse.
My situation could be so much worse.
And a part of me says, you can't complain.
You can't complain.
When there are other people who have it so much worse than me.
When there are other people who have it so much worse than me.
So I stuff down my feelings.
So I just stuff down my feelings.
I tell myself to pull myself together.
I tell myself to pull myself together.
Mm-hmm. I can't access self-compassion.
I can't access self-compassion.
Because I feel so guilty.
Because I feel so guilty.
I have a garden.
I have a garden.
Mm-hmm. There's so many people who don't have gardens.
So many people who don't have gardens.
There are so many people so much worse off than me.
There are so many people so much worse off than me.
All this guilt that I'm feeling.
All this guilt that I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm. A part of me says, I should have it much worse than I have.
I should have it much worse than I have.
Mm-hmm. I don't know quite how that's going to help the situation.
I don't know how that's going to help the situation.
But it would assuage my guilt.
But it would
assuage my guilt.
assuage my guilt.
All this guilt that I feel.
All this guilt that I'm feeling.
And a part of me says, I should be doing so much more to help.
I should be doing so much more to help.
I look out at other people.
I look out at other people.
Who seem to be doing so much. They're volunteering.
They're
putting out online programs. They're really showing up. Mm-hmm. And I just feel. Yeah. Oh my God, I should be doing all of that. I should be doing so much more than I'm doing. I'm really shitting on myself here. Mm-hmm. And I choose to be kinder to myself. Mm-hmm. I choose to accept. Mm-hmm. That there are different ways to be in this situation. It doesn't mean that everyone has to have the same reaction. Mm-hmm. If I choose to put out an online program. Or write blogs all over social media.
Or be on social media.
Mm-hmm. That's great. These are really tough times. I choose to know. That I'm doing absolutely the best I can. And that there's room for all different responses. Starting by being kind to myself. Will give me more room to be kind to others. Mm-hmm. Beating up on myself. Just leads to more guilt. And to more anger. At myself. At the situation. I don't need to add to the anger and guilt in this world. I choose to know. That I can come from a place of love and compassion.
that I can come from a place of love and compassion.
Mm-hmm. And help to heal this planet.
And help to heal this planet.
In the right way for me right now.
In the right way for me right now.
Okay, so let's just take a breath. Okay. And here's what I say normally, Krysia, at this stage, tune in again. Now, the lack of control thing we started off with, even though I can't control this. In a way, nothing's changed. But in another way, hopefully what changes is kind of one's own perspective around it. So tell me a little bit, give me a bit of feedback on how you're doing right now.
So I think the lack of control was probably a 7 to begin with. Maybe about an 8. That the government has, this is our lockdown, our lock-in, and now I suppose it's about a 3 at the moment, because it's that sense of calm, that sense of accepting that whatever you're doing is enough, and also that feeling of actually the only thing that I can control is within, and how I choose to react to this. So yeah, I think that's I think that's such a good point. I'm seeing more and more, both in myself and with people that I'm working with, that the kind of emotions and fears and feelings that are coming up around all of this are what we always feel, but kind of amplified. Yeah. So when I talk to people about money fears, for example, it's that, or for example, fears of becoming more visible, putting myself out there. This is nothing new. These are kind of the fears that we always have, but because of the situation, they're kind of coming into focus. Yeah. And so for me, in a way, in a funny kind of way, this is giving, because it becomes more acute, there's more that we can do on the inner work and actually working with ourselves. I'm here in Madrid. I live in Madrid, and we're way ahead of you. We've been, on lockdown for 5 weeks now, or 4 or 5 weeks now. And I remember vaguely, because I've kind of moved through that. I remember those first few days when everyone was kind of, oh, can I still do this? Can I still go out and take a walk and everything? Here it was because I'm right in the center of Madrid, and it's been so, it's been a real hot spot here with the whole virus. So it got strict very fast. And in a way, it was kind of helpful, because then you just sort of stopped saying, you knew if you go out, you're going to get a €600 fine. If you go out and so that kind of took away any kind of choice, if you like. But yes, the first few days, and especially, I have 3 teenage daughters, and they were sort of, I want to see my friends, and it's been interesting, the kind of process of just settling in, knowing, but maintaining a kind of optimism that we'll come out of this with new things. And let's do a bit of tapping on this, because I think that's a fear as well that many of us have, especially as we were talking about this before, this idea that, many people especially who are conscious, who are aware, there's this fear that, okay, we're going to come out of this, we will come out of this, but is it all going to go back to what it was before? And, the same system and the same amount of pollution and all this. And I think it's a real fear that we all, we have. Yeah.
Will anything change for the better? Will we learn the lessons, sort of thing?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you feel good about that, and let's try and, get to a place of feeling kind of peaceful within ourselves, Okay. Great. All right. So let's just start on the side of the hand. Okay. Let me just think. Give me a second. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even though I have all this fear about how this is going to turn out.
Even though I have all this fear about how this is going to turn out.
I love and accept myself completely.
Love and accept myself completely.
Even though I have all this fear at how this will turn out.
Even though I have all this fear at how this is going to turn out.
I love and honor myself completely.
I love and honor myself completely.
Even though I have all this fear looking into the future.
Even though I have all this fear looking into the future.
Knowing that this will pass.
Knowing that this will pass.
Mm-hmm. But is anything going to come, any good going to come out of it?
But is anything good going to come out of this?
Mm-hmm.
Jenny, that was really wonderful. Can we look at coming out of this with that positive feeling and what it's going to look like for us as we come out of lockdown?
Okay, yeah, let's do a round then. Let's try doing a round around this. Okay, so we come out feeling a bit more empowered with this all, right? So, even though I don't know how this is going to look.
Even though I don't know how this is going to look.
I choose to know.
I choose to know.
That I can feel positive.
That I can feel positive.
And feel at peace.
And feel at peace.
And I love and accept myself completely.
I love and accept myself completely.
Even though everybody around me.
Even though everybody around me.
Might be panicking.
Might be panicking.
I choose to feel peace.
I choose to feel at peace.
And I love and honor myself completely.
And I love and honor myself completely.
Even though I don't know how this is going to play out.
Even though I don't know how this is going to play out.
I choose to know.
I choose to know.
That somehow we're going to handle this.
That somehow we're going to handle this.
And I choose to trust.
And I choose to trust.
That lessons will be learnt.
That lessons will be learnt.
Mm-hmm. And there are enough of us.
And that there are enough of us.
Who are conscious and aware.
Who are conscious and aware.
For new good things to come about.
For new and good things to come about.
And I deeply and completely.
And I deeply and completely.
Love, honor and accept myself.
Love, honor and accept myself.
Okay, let's go around. I choose to feel peace right now.
I choose to feel at peace right now.
I choose to feel at peace right here in my home.
I choose to feel at peace right here in my home.
I choose to know that this isn't just burying my head in the sand.
I choose to know that this isn't just burying my head in the sand.
That the energy that I am giving out.
That the energy that I'm giving out.
Is really important.
Is really important.
If I buy into an energy of fear and worry and anxiety.
If I buy into the energy of fear, worry and anxiety.
That's what I'll be sending out to the world.
Sorry, big yawn's going on now. That's
shifting.
What I'll be sending out into the world.
Uh-huh. And I choose to be a beacon of peace.
And I choose to be a beacon of peace.
Mm-hmm. I've handled a lot in my life.
I've handled a lot in my life.
There have been so many things in my life.
There have been so many things in my life.
That have challenged me.
That have challenged me.
That have felt terrible when they happened.
That have felt terrible when they've happened.
Uh-huh. And I did come through them.
And I did come through them.
Maybe not always with the grace and ease that I would like.
Maybe not always with the grace and ease that I would have liked.
But I did cope with them.
But I did cope with them.
I choose to know.
I choose to know.
That I am much stronger than I sometimes think.
That I am stronger than I sometimes think.
Mm-hmm. And I choose to trust that the human race is the same.
And I choose to trust that the human race is the same.
Mm-hmm. That there are enough of us now.
That there are enough of us now.
Who are aware.
Who are aware.
And who want to protect the planet.
And who want to protect the planet.
Mm-hmm. Who want to protect the vulnerable people in our society.
Who want to protect the vulnerable people in our society.
I choose to focus on these people.
I choose to focus on these people.
And maintain my positive attitude.
And maintain and be in my positive attitude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Allowing myself to be at peace.
Allowing myself to be at peace.
Allowing myself to know.
Allowing myself to know.
That being at peace is not being passive.
That being at peace is not being passive.
Mm-hmm. I can still be proactive.
I can still be proactive.
I'm still a force for good in this world.
I'm still a force for good in this world.
Mm-hmm. And I'm really acknowledging myself for that.
And I'm really acknowledging myself for that.
I'm really allowing that for myself.
I'm really allowing that for myself.
The scale doesn't matter.
The scale doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. I may not be helping millions right now at this second.
I may not be helping millions right now at this second.
But I may just be helping one person right close to me.
I may just be helping one person close to me.
Mm-hmm. I'm allowing myself to know.
I'm allowing myself to know.
That every little bit counts.
Every little bit counts.
Choosing to be at peace.
Choosing to be at peace.
Choosing to feel good about myself.
Choosing to feel good about myself.
Allowing myself to calm the fears.
Allowing myself to calm the fears.
Mm-hmm. So allowing myself to know that I can handle this.
Allowing myself to know that I can handle this.
Mm-hmm. And whatever is to come.
And whatever is to come.
Mm-hmm. Really acknowledging my emotions.
Oh, a big yawn there.
Yeah.
Really acknowledging my emotions.
Mm-hmm. And feeling good about myself.
And feeling good about myself.
Mm-hmm. Trusting that good will come of this.
Trusting that good will come of this.
Okay, just take a breath. Okay, and you know, I just wanted to finish with one observation, Krysia. I think in our society, the whole idea of, positivity and negativity, many people I believe, I was just having a conversation with my dad about this last night. He'd been listening to the news and he was in a really negative, gloomy mood and everything. And this whole idea that negativity and the seeing all the bad things that are happening, that's what reality is, and that's real. Well, I think, you and I and the people who are watching this know that, and that's not the whole of the equation. It can't be, it's a polar, the opposite world. And so forcing ourselves in a way, if you like, or, really focusing in on the good that there is, yes, and the good that's within ourselves, and I think it's just really important. I think if that's all we're doing, that is huge.
Absolutely. Jenny, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I certainly feel that deep peace within. As you can see, I was yawning, so that's my way of releasing.
Yeah, that's energy shifting.
Energy shifting. And so if people want to stay in touch with you, Jenny, your website is?
Yes, my website is abetterlifetapping.com.
Okay, abetterlifetapping.com.
Yeah, and on Facebook, I'm Jenny Clift, A Better Life Tapping. And my email is very easy. It's jenny@jennyclift.com. So, yeah. So if you know my name, you can find me.
We'll find you. But we put it up on the video anyway.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Really,
I'm really grateful.
Really lovely. I love working with you.
Yeah, I love working with you too, Krysia. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and stay well.
No, and I really admire everything you're doing with this group and everything. It's just wonderful. So the more people we can bring together who are going at this in a peaceful fashion and knowing that our potential is so great, so it's really special.
I will leave you with saying, keep tapping.
Yes, keep tapping. Stay safe and keep tapping.
And keep tapping. And stay well, everybody. Thank you so much.